Okay, this is how to play Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and there's a couple of different places on the neck that I've seen this riff being taught in tabs and YouTube videos, but we're learning it in this position because when Tony Iommi's been playing it live for the last year or so, this is where he's been playing it. There's a live video on my website which shows him pretty clearly playing it here, though he is down-tuned because of Ozzy's voice these days. So we're starting off at an E power chord, which means our first finger is at the double dot at 12th fret on the thickest string. It's there. Okay? And then we make the standard power chord shape with our third finger, which is at 14th fret, a string down. And if you play that with 8th strumming, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 hands, with some palm muting, which is resting our hand, the outside of our hand just here, that will give you that recognisable sound in the verses. Finish with my woman. Okay? Any of these skills, such as power chords and the palm muting and even the riff, if you struggle with any of those, or you struggle once you've learnt this playing along with the record, my electric guitar starter course, just out on DVD this weekend, which is the reason I've featured it in a video like that, is the thing that's going to get you playing along and teach you these sorts of skills and doing this kind of pentatonic scale work. But to begin, we need to find this E power chord played like this, just with the first and third finger. To get the start of that riff, we're going to start just by barring the thickest two strings at that same fret. We pick the thickest two strings together, and then we hammer on the third finger. That's what gets that ramping sound kind of at the start, and we need 3 of those. Okay, so that's a bar of just the thickest 2 strings. Third finger hammers on, and then that happens 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so expanding on the techniques that with power chords to create a really cool sound. Then we have 4 notes, okay? We have, the first note is a string down, 12th fret of the A string, then to the third finger at 14, string down 12 and 14 again, and it's almost the same as that again, but staying as accurate as I can. Some people teach it like this, but I very much believe from doing my research, it comes back to that same power chord notes. That differs to some other YouTube lessons and things, but that is staying strict to the way it is played on the original record and played live. So we're going to use a down and up picking motion. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, for those 8 notes. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and just downs in this section here. That would happen 4 times in total. Let's try playing it together. If you can play along to me, it's, a little bit faster along to the record, but that's the best thing that I want you to get out of this lesson, playing along with me. So, play that along with me in 2, 3, 4. Power chord. And again. If you're super new to this, what is possibly happening is the notes have a lot of gaps between them. It sounds more like this. this is what we do not want, okay? What we want is each note lasting until the next note is down, and that means that we place a finger and we pick at the same time, and when we go from one note we lift off at the same time, and that means our hands are in sync. So that is how the riff is played. If you need more help with that, you want to be practicing your E minor pentatonic scale. If you've not heard of this scale, the video is up here totally for free. And let's get on with the verses. And we begin again on this E power chord just by playing these two notes together at the same time, and we're playing 8th strumming all down for 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's 1 bar. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but we're palm muting it, so we're having the outside of your hand placed just here. So you get this kind of sound. And there's a sweet spot with the palm muting. If you're too far this way, it's too muted. If you're too far the other way, it doesn't make any difference to the sound. So you need to find that sweet spot. Again, too muted. And just resting on the strings very gently. So 2 bars here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Sliding 2 frets down. And then what we need to do is play the power chord immediately underneath it, which is a G power chord. There's the root note. Come back to the D and then hit the E. Now there's a technique that I like to teach because it really helps a lot of people for going between a 6th string root note to a 5th string root note. So this is a root note on 6, this is a root note on 5. And that is using the little finger, like this, to play the power chord underneath. And what we could do here is play this chord without really moving any fingers by going down a string. So that's how we play the G power chord on the 5th string. Put the little finger back down, and we didn't have to move either finger really. You have to lift off your 3rd finger, but you're not having to, move it down, which can be a lot harder to do at speed, because the idea is we would do 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's a quick move, especially if you're a beginner. There's the G. Back to the D power chord. So string 6, let me show you from this angle. And then the E. Let me show you one more time. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to 10th fret. That's the quickest way to do that. You could have your little finger down all the time, if that's how you generally play power chords. It doesn't really make any difference. Or you could move everything down. But that is a lot harder move. And that is a lot easier for beginners. But remember, when we go to the 5th string root note, your pick has to go down. So picking from string 5, and then string 6, and then back to where we started. That happens twice for pretty much every verse. And then we have for kind of a musical interlude section. That is 12th fret root note, 12th fret power chord on the thickest E string, down to 8th fret, and then 10th fret, so 1st finger at 10th fret, and then back to 12. 1, 2, 3, strum, strum. 8, 10, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. And the only other thing that happens is the chorus, I would call the chorus, which would be, can you help me occupy my brain? Whoa, yeah. So E power chord, let it ring out for 2 bars. 10th fret power chord, so that's a D. And then again. Whoa, yeah. And then we will go back to 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's one other thing that happens at the end of that riff, which is going to a flat first finger on the middle 2 strings at 12th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes there really quick. You could just flatten off your first finger as a bar if you wanted, but pick only the middle 2 strings, the 3rd string and the 4th string together. So in total that verse would be, and it would only happen in the verse, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And that is how to play all the rhythm sections of Paranoid by Black Sabbath. If you want the solo, let me know.